Welcome, everyone. I'm Sue Barber, author, former IT director for a Fortune 500 company, turned executive coach, and this is the Visibility Factor podcast, where we explore how to raise your visibility and play bigger at work and in life. We'll explore key topics and welcome guests that help you shift your thinking about yourself so you can see new possibilities for your leadership. I'm on a mission to create a visibility movement for leaders to show their value and be seen for their true talent. Are you ready to take the next step towards a higher level of visibility for yourself? Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Visibility Factor podcast. This is Sue Barber, your host. One of the things that I've been focusing more time on recently is that visibility isn't just an individual leader's challenge. It is actually an organizational leadership opportunity to help them grow and develop in a bigger way. Because when leaders want to do the right thing and want to speak up and want to do bigger things with their career, they have to demonstrate organizational value to be able to do that. And for them to do that, the organization has to also see it. So if they're not speaking up, if they're not sharing the value and impact that they're making, the organization isn't seeing it. The leadership who makes the decisions about someone's promotion or giving them new opportunities, they're not showing that to them, so they can't see it. So if they're not consistently showing it, then what happens? That leader is probably overlooked. They're not given opportunities that they may consider themselves ready for. They're not talking about the things that they need to do strategically enough for the leaders to recognize that. Many people were not taught this, right? That's not something that a lot of leaders have learned every day. I can see so many opportunities for leaders to show their value, but it's not always top of mind for them. And many believe, like I did, that if I'm doing good work, people are going to see it, they're going to recognize it, and I don't need to talk about my results in order for that to happen. Which, as you now know, is not really true, because if you're not talking about your results, then other people can't see them. Now, they may be holding themselves back because of limiting beliefs. They may not feel safe enough to speak up in meetings. They may be concerned about judgment or criticism or making mistakes, or many people struggle with a fear of failure. So let's look at what organizations are already doing in terms of building capabilities for leaders. Many of them are focused on strategic thinking, influence, communication, collaboration, decision-making, change leadership. Developing these capabilities isn't enough to be recognized by leadership. They have to be observable. So that means that leader who wants to get the next opportunity needs to be able to demonstrate these things in front of the people who make decisions. For example, a leader may possess great strategic thinking, but if decision makers aren't seeing that strategic thinking from them, they don't understand it or have evidence of it, that capability may not influence talent decisions when it comes time to look at who's ready. In other words, you have to show what you can do to get the opportunities that you want. Now, I was just meeting with a leader today who was surprised to see that people did not consider their talents strategic enough. And I said, it's not that you're not strategic enough, but you're not talking about it potentially enough in front of them. You might be doing great things. You might be even telling your manager, but maybe there are other people in the organization who don't see that in you. And so it comes with intention and strategy to share different things that you're doing so that people can see that. That is what changes perception. So the more you can start to share things with people, the more they start to recognize how you think, how you make decisions, how you get things done, how you work with your team and develop them. Sometimes you have to be a little more transparent and sharing these things with people so that they can actually see it. Now, when I was writing the Visibility Factor, there was a study that I quoted in the book around promotions, and it was by the Center for Creative Leadership. They had done a study over multiple years looking at multiple companies and what is it that actually helps people get promoted. And what they recognized is that people need to believe that the person who they want to offer a role can do it. They also want to know that they can trust them to do it. And they want to know that the person is ready. And so demonstrating these types of things like decision-making and thinking and how you handle conversations helps that leader build trust in you that you're ready for the next thing. It builds your credibility. It helps people see that you could do the role. And I'm not saying that everybody has to check every box on a job description, but let's just say that you're doing more than others and you need to demonstrate those things to people on a regular basis so that they can think of you for opportunities. So this is really what I call a leadership recognition gap. It's the difference between the leadership capability and the impact that exists and what the organization recognizes, understands, and can act upon. You're not talking about it enough. You're probably not demonstrating that enough in front of people. You're not really sharing the value and impact that you're making. And that means it's a missed opportunity for you. So strategic visibility is actually a competency that helps you to close the leadership recognition gap. It's not about just being noticed. A lot of people get noticed, but they're not actually talking about the things that they need to talk about or showing what they need to show. So let's think about this as a practice. Strategic visibility is the intentional practice of making your leadership, your thinking, your decisions, your influence, and business impact observable and understandable to the people who influence organizational outcomes. Get in front of the leaders who make decisions about you and show them what you can do. That's what we're talking about here. So how can you think about strategic visibility as a competency? It's got an agreed upon definition. I just took you through that. It can be observed by others. It can be assessed and measured. They can see something in you that kind of checks the box that they're looking to check. And whether or not you have done that consistently and intentionally allows them to see that you're ready. And know that if you don't have strategic visibility as something that you are already doing, you can develop that. Leaders can take action and show it strategically on a more consistent basis. I work with people every single day, helping them recognize opportunities, do something that gets them noticed, but also takes it to the next step of being strategic about it, making sure that their visibility is very strategic and closes that recognition gap to show and make sure that leaders can observe them in the way that they need to be observed. So this isn't about personality or tactics. It's about showing that you're ready for the next step. There are so many great opportunities that leaders are missing out on. And I don't want anyone to leave anything on the table that they could take advantage of. So let's not let an organization leave leadership visibility to chance either. Because I think most organizations assume that visibility just happens naturally. Some employees get it, some people do it, others don't, but there's not really any intentional focus on it. And to me, this is an opportunity for an organization to see it as a competency and recognize that the people who are doing more probably learned from executives that they've worked with, or their personality is more extroverted, and so it's easier for them to speak up. Or they get invited into conversations depending on their leader that they work for, involving them in more things. They might be leveraging informal networks to do it, or they might be great storytellers. Those are the people that a lot of people tend to listen to. But that's not really a reliable way to identify a future leader. It's leaving things to chance instead of using intentional outcomes to drive it. So what we really want is an organization to focus on developing leaders to become more visible. How they think, the impact that they make, the influence that they're showing, and the leadership readiness to do more. This is what I work with leaders on all the time through workshops, and what I talk about in the book and the podcast is all about helping leaders leverage these things and show them to people. And it's just not something that everybody thinks about from the beginning and considers doing. They're busy doing their work and getting things done, but they're just not demonstrating and showing enough to the people who need to see it from them so that they're ready. I believe that every leader is doing these things, right? They are thinking bigger. They're making an impact. They're influencing. They are ready to do more. But until they show that to the right people and build trust with that leader who can make a decision about their career, nothing will happen. We used to call it is you have to show that you can do the job before you get the job. So if you're not showing that you can do the job before the people who need to make decisions about this, well, then they don't get to see it. It's not observable to them. And how can you make these things more observable? How are you thinking about things, the impact that you're making, the influence that you show, and the readiness to do more? How can you show more of that to the people who need to see it to make decisions about your career and making sure that you're talking about the things that you want. If you're not putting yourself out there and giving them the opportunity to see these things in you, well, then they don't see it. And you're doing great work. I want people to see that, right? But I also want you to talk about it. So if organizations want to have better succession decisions, stronger internal opportunities for their leadership pipeline, more ways to recognize the leadership capability that they already have available, then this is an opportunity to make some shifts. Think about visibility as a competency that needs to be built and grown and developed, because that gives a more complete picture of leadership capability, showing what you can do and the capabilities that you have to others so that they can be thinking about you for future opportunities. And it gives a more complete picture of the leadership capability that an organization has if they can start to think about it in this bigger way. I hope this is helpful. If you are an organization who is starting to think about how to leverage more visibility in your leaders, I'd love to talk to you. I think it's such a great opportunity to help people grow and develop and build more confidence in themselves. Thanks so much for joining today on the Visibility Factor podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for listening to the Visibility Factor podcast. Remember that visibility starts with small steps that are intentional and consistent each day. Be bold, be visible, be the leader you were meant to be. Find us and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, which are highlighted in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Visibility Factor podcast.